I think what's actually significant is not the way that culture was shaped by TV, but the way that TV is shaped by culture. Good morning, Hank. It's Tuesday. You're here.
Good morning, John. Welcome to the New Year's TV Aware.
Thank you so much. You don't have to say welcome, actually, because I am the CEO. And it's great.
He's been doing it. He's been packing socks all day.
Yep.
Meeting people.
AwesomeSocks.club. I'll tell you what, after spending a day at the warehouse packing the socks and learning about the processes that go into getting and shipping out the coffee and the socks, I believe more than ever in this company, the people who work here are so awesome, as you know, Hank. I don't want to sound like a CEO, but I've never been so enthusiastic about a for-profit, for charity venture in my entire life.
Thanks for coming out. Thanks for helping out.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
I'm feeling okay right now.
How are you?
Yeah, right now, I'm about to feel worse in about 4 days.
I want to stop you there, and I
Yeah.
want to ask you a serious question.
Okay.
And I know that we've been jokety this whole time, and that's good. I want to stay jokey,
Uh-huh.
but I do think, like, you and I both have this instinct to, in hard times, say, blobbity, 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 it sucks, but.
Yeah.
And we both have it, we put the positive spin
It's
on
very
it.
hard to not say but.
It's very hard to not say but when you're talking about difficulty. And what I guess I would want to emphasize is that you are doing amazing. You are, as they say, tolerating the treatment brilliantly, etc., etc. But this sucks.
Yeah.
This sucks. You get really sick. It sucks.
Yeah, it's legit. Like the chemo has a reputation that it has earned.
Oh,
Is how I came out of it feeling.
I can count on two hands the number of times I've seen Hank take a nap.
Not anymore.
And like a bunch of times I've seen you take a nap, it's because you're really, really seasick on a boat you don't want to be on.
I do. That is it. It feels kind of similar to that. Like
You're on a boat you don't want to be on, and
Yeah.
you are kind of seasick.
and then nobody else is on the boat either.
Right, you're alone,
I'm alone on the boat.
On a boat, and there's a lot of people who are on shore like, do you need anything? And you're like, I'd like to not be on the boat. And and then they're like, sorry,
that's stay on the boat.
That's the one thing I can't do. You gotta stay on the boat.
You're really inseparable from the boat at the moment.
We need you on the boat.
And I'm like, I don't know a lot about boats.
And I'm like, I don't either, but you got this, buddy.
Here's some YouTube videos about boats. YouTube's like, would you like boat videos?
YouTube's like,
do,
I see that you like boat videos. That means
Would you like boat disaster videos?
I see how much you're enjoying these boat disaster videos. You know, planes also crash.
Yeah,
I'd like to show you some plane crash videos.
That has happened.
I know.
I get
believe
chronic
me.
illness of other kinds of illnesses videos.
Because we have the
Yeah.
same YouTube,
Yeah.
I also experience this.
Uh-huh.
And it's great in a way, right? Because it is What?
Says the guy who's not on the boat.
You see Dad out there just like trying to save that
It's just
tree?
Trump. Our dad is out in
He's just making a phone call being like, I don't know if this
we
tree...
landscaped a bit.
To be fair, the tree doesn't look well.
No, it's alive though, so it is worth his efforts.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
The tree's on its own boat.
The tree's on its own boat, except the difference is that it's not alone. It has Dad there on the boat.
I have dad too.
Yeah, not in the same way. Like, Dad can't just, like, stake you to the ground and be like, there you go.
No.
Standing straight up again.
That's Dr. Carl's job.
We love you, Dr. Carl, because it's really the biases within culture that allow infectious disease to spread, right? Like, that's the vector.
At this point, yeah.
Right.
We're fairly new to that
Yes.
experience.
Right.
A lot of times in the sort of healthcare journey, people are like, why is it so bad? And like, lots of reasons. But it's easy to forget that 100 years ago, you didn't expect to be cured of a disease.
Right. The main thing the doctor told you was...
like what might...
Which direction you were headed in.
Yeah.
So there's that, but there's also the fact that, like, it does feel vaguely medieval a lot of times. Like, the treatment for chronic illness, chemotherapy that, like, destroys your immune system doesn't feel super 21st century to me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, the thing is, it's quite tricky, and we didn't know this until we did it, to distinguish between diseases that are easy, it turned out to be quite easy to cure,
right.
and diseases that were very hard to cure.
Yeah.
So when people first started figuring out how, like, antibiotics worked, they were like, holy crap! And, like, you know, life expectancy increased by 30 years over the course of 30 years.
Yeah.
And then they were like, okay, well, let's do that with cancer then. And they're like, no, turns out we can't.
Let's do it with viruses.
And that feels like a conspiracy.
Yes.
But it's not. It's just hard.
Right. It feels like cancer should have been easy to cure in the same way that strep throat was easy to cure.
Yeah.
It's not even one disease. Like strep throat is one disease.
Yeah.
Cancer is a lot of diseases.
Yeah. I have started to think that it's silly of us to think of cancer as one disease when it's like saying the idea of a virus is one disease.
Someone in our family just got diagnosed with basal cell carcinoma, which sounds like a cancer because it has carcinoma in it, and it is a cancer, except that because the survival rate is 100%, nobody really says they have cancer.
Right.
Because we associate cancer with jeopardy.
They don't even include it in like the cancer stats.
I've learned a lot about cancer in the last couple of months.
I think.
And one of the big things we've both learned is how unequal access to treatment is. Like both in the United States or like in rich countries, but especially between rich countries and poor middle income countries. Yeah. It's shocking.
Yeah. Even with a disease that's very treatable and like we know exactly the drugs you need to get.
Right. And they're not that expensive.
They're not.
Like the Hodgkin's drugs are not that expensive.
Yeah. My chemo is the cheapest part of my treatment.
Really?
It's cheaper than the scans.
Wow.
Now if I had to switch over to the new one because of a lung problem, it would go from $300 a treatment to I think $15,000.
What was? What a good system. Dr. Carol Mitnick recently had an idea for me that had never crossed my mind in my 45 years of being alive, which was, what if we treated illness not as an opportunity to maximize value, but as an opportunity to extend the quality and length of human lives? And like, I was like, well, how would we do that?
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, we've done it before. Like, what's Wikipedia? Except an effort to extend the quality and length of human lives.
Yeah.
In a not-for-profit kind of
Certainly
way.
In the quality, anyway. I don't know if it's I don't know.
I feel like Wikipedia has already extended the length of my life. Wikipedia was like, here's a concept for you called micromorts, which tells you every activity you do, how many minutes of your life does it decrease.
Wow. What's the worst ones? Boats, I bet.
Both kind of boats.
Yeah.
Have a lot of micromorts. A lot of micromorts in boats these days. Boats aren't great. Motorcycles?
Up there.
Not the best. You know what's got even more micromorts than parasailing, actually? Is free solo rock climbing.
Oh, I bet.
That's a heavy micromort. Even if you're good at it, and which I'm not. So for me, it would be like 1 million micromorts.
Yeah, which adds up to one mort.
Exactly. However many micromorts you need to get to that's 1.0 morts. Which reminds me, Hank.
Yeah.
At VidCon, there was a pit that you could jump into to get a squishmallow. Okay?
Yeah, I know.
And my children jumped into the pit, and they each got 2 squishmallows.
Oh wow!
In
that
the pit.
like a lot.
And it was like a full. I watched them jump. It's like 15 feet down, and I was like, "This is so great because now you have a squishmallow, and you have a squishmallow, and you can both give your lovely cousin Oren a squishmallow." And they said, "If you want to give Oren a squishmallow, you've got to jump into the pit." And so I did. I look like an eagle in flight. You've never seen something or someone so graceful. And the best part is after I go down through all of the squishmallows, land deep, deep inside the bottom of the pit of squishmallows, the first thing you hear my squeaky little coward voice say is, "Well, that was thrilling."
That's terrible. That's terrible. I have a new chemo symptoms, very weird.
Oh, what is it?
I, for the first time in my life, have gotten 2 ocular migraines.
Oh, like with the auras?
Yeah, with no pain.
I had that once.
Pain came after. So like
I had
when
that
it was
once.
happening, no pain at all. And I was
That's what it usually is. It's like warning of the pain to come.
And it did hurt very bad after the second
Hank.
time. But, I mean, much scarier than what it is. Because I was like...
Oh, yeah, because it feels like you're hallucinating.
It feels like I'm hallucinating.
Yeah.
It was in both eyes. So it wasn't like an eye problem. It's a brain problem. And I'm like, okay, so I'm having a stroke.
So you've got the ocular migraines.
Yeah, that was weird.
Very unpleasant.
Happened while I was watching Wipeout. And I was like, I can't see Wipeout?
You know, there's a lot of things that I used to think sucked. Wipeout is a good example. That it turns out that, like, they're just a gift of a different kind.
That's right.
They're a show for a different moment than the moment I'm in, maybe. But they're not a bad show. They're just a show for a different person at a different time. I watched like a 19-minute video, probably because you're messing with my algorithm so much, that was just every person who's completed Wipeout over like 25 years.
Wow.
And it was, they weren't all gazelles.
But they all did it.
They all made it. Dude, Dad's just he's still at it. You know what? I think the last shot of the video has to be the extraordinary work that Dad is doing. Hank, you may be alone on the boat, but look how many people are trying to right that ship. If I extended the metaphor too far, anyway, Dad, you're the best. We love you. Hank, I'll see you right now.